Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Gunn, and some of you may know that I grew up in the United States. After having spent some time in Canada, I've slowly come to understand the differences and traditions surrounding the remembrance of veterans and foreign conflicts. To help all of us better understand this, we've recorded a few staff asking them about the significance of Remembrance Day. So the key question we want to understand is, what does Remembrance Day mean to you?
This year, Remembrance Day means to me remembering the complexities of the world and those friends and family that have worked to help people the best they could. Now, a couple of months ago, you may have heard that the country of Afghanistan fell once again to the hands of the oppressive group, the Taliban, after about 20 years of allied forces and local groups fighting to bring more stability to that country. And some of us know people and friends and family that have served in Afghanistan. Canada served for about 15 of those years with their military and the military operations there. So two of my friends that I went to school with were decorated soldiers in Afghanistan. Paul, who I went to elementary and junior high school with, he served in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, he died in an accident there in 2006. So he was brought back to Canada and he was buried there, which was quite sad, quite unfortunate. And another friend, who was actually a friend of Paul's, his name is Shane. He was my next door neighbor growing up in high school for many years. I played ball hockey with him all the time. And he served in Afghanistan and Bosnia and survived many difficult situations and dangerous situations in Afghanistan. And unfortunately, he died shortly after coming back here. And that was also very, very sad. So when a few months ago, when Afghanistan fell back to the Taliban, and I was watching that news, I thought, my goodness, did my friends, all these people, these men and women who served, did they do everything in vain? Was there a meaning to all of it? And of course, in the end, we have to recognize that yes, there's meaning. That these people did make a difference. They tried their very best to help the people in that country and bring greater peace and stability. But it is a reminder that conflict and war is not simple. It's very complex, it's very messy. There's not black and white. It's not like a movie that starts and has a middle and finishes. It's ongoing and it's very, very complex. And so we have to honor throughout history and all the different wars that Canada has had to be involved with, the people that have been brave to jump into that kind of complexity and to do their very best to help people around the world. So in their honor, I'm thinking of them this Remembrance Day.
What memories of Remembrance Day do you have?
When asked to think about Remembrance Day, I often remember my father. And if you look on this picture that you see on the screen, my father is the handsome guy on the left. My father was born in 1938 in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Halifax, for those of you who don't know, is located on Canada's east coast and was and is an important part of Canada's Navy. In the First and Second World War, ships went from Halifax Harbor across to Europe, and it played a very, very important role in both wars. Growing up as a child, my father was obviously influenced by the presence of the Navy in Halifax. And later on, when he went to university, he decided that one way to help him pay for his university tuition was to join the Navy. And the picture that you see, this is my dad when he was in university. So after a few years of going to university and serving in the Navy, my dad decided that he would retire from the Navy. He had enjoyed his experience, but he felt that he wanted to do other things. So my dad decided to become a lawyer. And as a result of that, he went to law school and ended up moving to a small town in Ontario known as Brockville, which is my hometown. So my connection to Remembrance Day and my father all starts with the fact that when my dad was a young lawyer starting out, he had a lot of clients who were veterans. At the beginning, he had veterans not only from the Second World War, but also some older veterans from the First World War. And when my dad was practicing law, he got to know a lot of these veterans, and he would tell stories about their acts to my brother and myself, and we became very, very interested. Of particular interest, though, was that my dad went out of his way to help these veterans. So he learned of some of the horrible sacrifices that these people had made, and some of them came back very broken. So my dad went out of his way to ensure that he could do whatever he could possibly do to allow these veterans to live as comfortable a life as they possibly could. And it was through that experience that my brother and I came to appreciate not only the sacrifices, but also we learned of the very difficult conditions that a lot of the veterans experienced. So I think my dad would be proud today to know that here I am talking about the importance of remembrance. And also my brother, who went on to work for the Veterans Affairs Department in Canada, and he specialized actually in promoting the policy of post-traumatic stress disorder, which is known as PTSD. So he played a fairly significant role in updating the policies. So Remembrance Day, of course, it's a very important day for all of us, but the one thing that I think my dad would be very proud of is that both of his sons did something to contribute to continue with the importance of this day, and also to remember, lest we forget.
What makes Remembrance Day important to Canadians?
I guess to me, Remembrance Day isn't just the memory of sacrifice. It's the memory of the context surrounding that sacrifice. It's not just that these wars happened, but why they happened, who they happened to, and what happened to who they happened to. And this sort of memory is what's necessary to move us towards a truly better future where that sacrifice is no longer needed ever again.
What other actions or events have made you better understand the importance of the day?
I think now as a teacher, teaching about World War, about conflict in the 20th century, that Remembrance Day has a lot of meaning because it's about protecting, it's about the sacrifice of some to protect the freedoms of many. And that's something that it's hard to appreciate until you realize why you value those freedoms. And until you look at how events around the world can change and how that change can be both positive or negative on people's freedoms in different parts of the world. And I think that it is a meaningful contribution that the past generations made that helps to create the world that we've all benefited so much from. And I want my son, as he grows up, to be respectful of and to realize that people in the past did things that make the world the way it is so that he has the freedoms that he enjoys.
Thank you, Mr. Goobie, Mr. Griffin, Mr. Kortschak, and Mr. Macintosh for all of your answers. I hope that from your answers, each of us can better understand the importance of Remembrance Day, and in part, answer what it means to each of us.